Good evening and welcome to Charles Koch Arena for a big clash at the Roundhouse between unbeaten Missouri and Wichita State on ESPN+. The first roadie for Mizzou, but not their first time here. The Tigers won in this building during the COVID season 2 years ago by 10. Welcome into Charles Koch Arena. Shane Dennis, Bob Hull bringing you the action. Glad you could stop by. First, our starting lineups for Mizzou, a perfect 7-0 to start the season. Coming off a pair of 30-point wins, Demoy Hodge leads 5 Tigers in double figures. Kobe Brown is the second leading scorer on the team, leading rebounder, and all preseason SEC. For Wichita State, the Shockers playing in their 300th game in the 20 seasons since Charles Koch Arena's renovations. They win nearly 84% of their games here, and the Shockers scored a season-high 83 points in their last matchup against Tarleton. Keys to the game right now brought to you by Reese Nichols. Bob, how do you see this one playing out tonight?
Well, for the Tigers, they want to use their pressure defense, try to take the Shockers out of their offense, try to turn them over and score off their turnovers in transition. And then against the half-court offense, they want to move the basketball, and if the Shockers play that matchup zone, try to shoot their threes right over the top of that zone. And for Wichita State, they've got to handle that Tiger pressure, run their offense, take the ball at the basket, drive to the basket, run some back cuts. And then they've got to get back, talk, and really run the court and play transition defense because the Tigers love to run.
Should be a good one tonight, and as they say, styles make fights. 93 points a game for Mizzou, and Wichita State among the most stingy defensively through their first 6 games, rather.
Yes, they average 93 a game, as you mentioned. Shockers only give up 59 a game, so a battle of styles here tonight. A high-powered offense against a really tough defense.
And Mizzou, maybe most impressively, Bob, in their first 7 games, leading the nation in assists. They really share it. That would have been one had that gone down. Wichita State's Kenny Poto with a rebound with their MTXE throwback unis on tonight.
Yeah, I've watched Missouri Tigers. I've watched a couple of their games on ESPN+, and let me tell you, they really move that basketball, and they shoot the heck out of the ball. Kind of a wild pass there by the Shockers down at Poto's knees.
Nick Honor, the grad transfer, kicks it out into a right side 3, no good. No box out of Demoy Hodge, who finishes at the rim.
Nice pass that time by Hodge. A little bounce pass inside for the easy one.
So Mizzou out early, and that is no surprise to them. They have really dominated in their first 7 games, all at home. Figure to be tested more here tonight. Honor wants a 3 after another turnover, and he hits.
Looks like rugby there for a minute. Bunch of guys down on the floor, and already the Missouri pressure has made the Shockers cough it up, and they've got a quick bucket off of it.
A couple of transfers get on the board for Mizzou. Noah Carter from Northern Iowa, and then Honor, the grad transfer from Clemson. And a slam dunk on the baseline as an answer for Jaquan Walton.
No turnover that time by Wichita State. An emphatic slam by Taquan Walton.
Mizzou off to its best start since the beginning of the 2013-14 season when they got out to a 10-0 record under first-year head coach Dennis Gates. A dizzying pace that they play at. It's going to be an over and back whenever Honor touches it, and he finally does.
Shockers switched to their matchup zone that time. Mizzou looked like they were set up against it, got to the ball in the short corner, then they threw it over half court. Kind of an unforced turnover that time by the Tigers. Shockers like to change defenses. They'll play man-to-man, they'll play a matchup zone, and a host of different full court and three-quarter court presses.
Mizzou in their first 7 games turned the opposition over on average 22 times a game, only give it away 12 times themselves. Pretty much everywhere you look statistically, Missouri has dominated.
They're averaging 27 points a game off of turnovers, so they get a lot of their points from turnovers.
They shoot nearly 78% from the free throw line and 36.5% from 3. Poto drew a double team late in the shot clock, and a bank by Jaquan Walton. He has tied the game at 5.
Yeah, big smile on Coach Dennis Gates' face over there on the sideline in front of the Missouri bench. Anytime somebody banks one down from head on,
played in the game just last year in Columbia.
Hello, transfer portal.
Man, I guess. Xavier Bell, one of the newcomers for Wichita State, misfires, but James Rojas with an offensive rebound. Porter didn't want to three in the offensive end. A lot of times those offensive rebounds lead to wide open threes, but Mizzou really recovered.
Well, Porter had one, but he turned it down.
Turned it into a tougher one, but he made it anyway.
Yeah, he got that one over the 6'6" Noah Carter. Mizzou pushing it up, trying to get something easy in transition. That time the Shockers got back, picked up very well.
Kobe Brown is a load, may have gotten fouled even before he put it on the ground.
Yeah, looked like Bell got him a little bit and still made it. He's a big, strong guy.
Bell didn't want a three, left side, little teardrop, left it short. Rebound pulled down by Mizzou's Kobe Brown, again an all preseason SEC player.
They like to put guys in the corner, and they'll jack up those threes from the corner.
Nick Honor leading Mizzou in assists with nearly 4 a game. Had 8 points in their most recent victory against Houston Christian. They blew out HCU 105-69.
Now that time they were using Taquan Walton to bring the ball up and get him in their offense. Looks like he was doing a good job. And then he threw it right into the hands of Kobe Brown, who turned it into a layup. And that's what Missouri does.
Offensive foul on James Rojas. So an up and down first 4+ minutes has Mizzou out to a 1-point lead. Mizzou out to that 7-0 start, as we mentioned, not used to being behind. There have been a handful of games this year they didn't trail at all in the second half, but overall, Missouri has led for nearly 259 of 280 minutes. It's only 13-23 of game time that they have actually been behind in their first 7 games.
Yeah, they won their last 5 games by an average of 24 points, so not a real strong schedule to open up the season. They're 7-0, but they really haven't played any tough competition. It's probably going to be the toughest game tonight that they've had so far this season. And they got some tough ones coming up. They got to go play KU. KU's coming to their place, and they got to play Illinois and St. Louis, so they got some tough games coming up.
So far, Missouri 4 out of 8 from the floor. Wichita State 3 out of 5. Shockers have turned it over 4 times to Missouri's 1.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem there if that continues. The Shockers with 4 turnovers already.
Trey Gamillion into the game the first time and promptly throws it away. He was hoping that Kobe Brown would flash to the right block, and he didn't go there quite quick enough. Sean East the second also in for Mizzou. And now here comes Ronnie DeGray the third for the Tigers. They play a lot of players. Of course, they get up and down like they do, scoring 93 a game. You're going to need a handful of bodies over there to help out.
Yeah, they got some guys that really love to defend. There's one right there in Honor Gamillion, who just had that turnover. He was Horizon Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago. And
Walton.
Hodge was Defensive Player of the Year last year, so they got some guys that know how to defend.
Walton getting hounded by Honor. 3 in the corner is good. Xavier Bell looks like a long two, Bob. Xavier Bell gets his first basket.
Yeah, they need some scoring out of the two-guard spot. Bell and Pierre have had a hard time putting the ball in the basket. They need some points from those guys at that two-guard position.
Carter walked into an open 3, couldn't hit. He's a 33% three-point shooter. And Gamillion right up into Craig Porter Jr. Now he switches off onto Bell.
He looks like he could defend you, doesn't he?
He absolutely does.
Looks like he could wrestle you. Powerful looking guy, gets a hand on that pass.
Got another steal, a turnover for Wichita State. Leads to a potential run out.
That's a second turnover for Xavier Bell.
And a 3 in transition wouldn't go by DeGray, but good work on the offensive glass by Carter, and he draws a foul. Wichita State with 5 early turnovers. Again, Mizzou averages turning teams over about 22 times. Des Moines Hodge right back in there, Bob.
Shockers faced a lot of pressure Saturday afternoon playing Tarleton, and they did a really good job of not turning the basketball over in that ball game. But today, I don't know if it's the Missouri size or their length, but they've been bothered already.
Jerron Pierre Jr. in there for the first time for Wichita State. So is Gus Okafor, one of the heroes for Wichita State against Tarleton. Okafor had a shocker high 27 points on just 11 shots.
9 of 11 in that ball game for Gus Okafor, and a couple of highlight reel dunks.
Mizzou scored the first 5 points of the game. It's basically been a seesaw affair since then.
Shocker offense all on the perimeter here this trip.
Pierre rattles out a 3, rebound by Hodge. Missouri, one of the quickest teams in the country. No surprise with their gaudy scoring average. They get up and down, and that tap goes, and Mizzou takes a 1-point lead.
Kind of a force that time in transition, but I think DeGray got that tip in. Shawnee's kind of forced it up in transition, put up a bad shot, but his teammate came in there and cleaned it up for him.
Yeah, DeGray's been playing a lot more lately. He gets his first 2 of the game. Okafor wants a 3, wouldn't go. All Mizzou underneath. East with a rebound, going coast to coast.
A lot of dribbling for Wichita State, not much passing and moving.
And that 3 wouldn't go down, so Missouri's had a lot of open looks from 3. Okafor out ahead of the field, lost it, tripped, fell out of bounds. The crowd wanted a foul, none coming. Mizzou will get it back.
Well, the ball went out of his hand. It was going out of bounds, and he got a little help falling down by Noah Carter. Gave him a little bit of a shove in the back. Watch, that ball was already going out of bounds. A little bit of contact there as the big fella was going down. That's what the Shocker fans were booing about.
Mizzou's already hoisted up 6 more shots than Wichita State, 7 minutes in.
The Shockers had 5 turnovers or
5.
6, yeah.
Mizzou only 1 out of 8 from 3-point range, though. Came in averaging 36.5, and that 3 didn't get off in time. So Wichita State with a good defensive stand.
Well, 3 turnovers for the Tigers, 6 turnovers for Wichita State. So far, the defenses are having their way with the offenses. Shockers can't get anything going on the offensive end. That's Missouri pressure has taken them right out of their offense.
Walton, corner 3. Wouldn't go down.
Pretty good look that time.
Wichita State now 2 out of 6 from 3-point range. East working on Porter, got cut off. Noah Carter, the transfer from Northern Iowa, backing his way down on Okafor. Left it short. Kenny Poto flies in for the rebound. So both teams starting to cool off a tad. Pierre for 3, no good. And Mizzou, a team statistically that hasn't done a good job rebounding, is keeping Wichita State off the offensive glass, and a 3 finally goes down. That's Des Moines Hodge for 3.
Yeah, that's Hodge. He's shooting 41% from 3. They like to push it up, shoot that 3 on the wing or in the corner. He finally got one to fall.
Hodge leading the team in scoring at 16.6. He had 13 against HCU the last time out. Near steal again. And that's going to turn into a jump ball. Wichita State will keep it, but Mizzou out to a 4-point lead with 11:23 left. One of the differences between these two teams so far, Mizzou averaging over 90 a game, Wichita State in the mid-60s, is adjusted tempo. That's a thing now. And Mizzou is 14th in the country in adjusted tempo, 73.5 possessions per game. Wichita State toward the bottom of the NCAA with only 64.6 possessions per game. So this possession game against Mizzou for Wichita State, paramount for them not to turn it over, and so far they have turned it over.
Yeah, they have turned it over. 6 turnovers so far by Wichita State, and Missouri has taken advantage of them. They're 8-0 on fast break buckets, and that's what Dennis Gates wants to do. A lot of success at Cleveland State. 21, they won the conference, the Horizon League. At 22, they won the conference, and they went to the NCAA in 21, the NIT in 22.
And a whistle. Will that count? I believe it will. Craig Porter Jr. trying his best to snap a 4-minute scoring drought, and will, and have an and one. Craig Porter Jr.'s got 5 going on 6.
That's one way to attack pressure, is to drive. You got to drive the basketball. You got to back cut. You got to run some plays to take advantage of that pressure. And when they push you on the perimeter, that means you can get to the basket. That time Porter took advantage.
Kobe Brown now has 2 personal fouls. So after starting 2 out of 2 from the floor, 4 points, 1 rebound in the early going, he's got 2 fouls. Craig Porter Jr. back rims a free throw. He'll stay on 5. He had 11 points and 5 blocks against Tarleton. Craig Porter did. Shema Scott checks in. So co-point guards in there for Wichita State. DeAndre Golston back in there for Missouri. Okafor collects the missed shot for Wichita State. Not out of the woods yet, though.
Nice rebound by Gus Okafor that time in a crowd.
Scott with a big step through, finishes with the left hand. Shema Scott doesn't score much. 2 early ones for him off the bench.
Well, that's why Coach Brown put him in there, because he can penetrate and score at the hoop. And so far, Missouri's put a lot of pressure on Wichita State, so now they've got 2 ball handling guards in there.
Wichita State with 4 quick ones after they went a while without scoring. And it's going to be a grab on Golston. hopping through the lane. It's going to go against Craig Porter.
Yeah, Porter checked him as he was driving into the lane. A little too aggressive on that one. It's going to be a common foul, though. Missouri ball out under.
Back in Noah Carter. He'll check in for DeGray. So it'll be interesting to see what Mizzou does without Kobe Brown, although scoring from other sources hadn't been a problem at all so far this year. 5 guys in double figures for the Tigers.
They've got a lot of offensive weapons. Studying them, trying to figure out who their top guns were, I really couldn't figure one out. That guy right there, Carter, he's averaging 12, but he had 6 threes in one game. 6 out of 9. 6'6" player, transfer out of Northern Iowa.
More than half of his threes made on the year came in one game.
6 out of 9 in one game. Well, another turnover by the Shockers.
Midway through the first half, Mizzou off to a good start, turning over Wichita State 7 times. Kenny Poto fouls in transition as DeAndre Golston made his way to the hoop.
Well, he was kind of going away from the basket, going to take an off-balance shot, and Kenny Poto kind of bails him out right as he moves to the right here. Well, I guess he moved because Poto checked him. That's why he moved to the right. But Golston did a good job of drawing the foul.
Golston, an excellent foul shooter. Almost everybody on this Tiger team is. 77.7 from the free throw line. So you want to start running them off the three-point line and put them at the stripe? Good luck.
Yeah, you don't want to put them at the stripe. This young man right here, in the last ball game, he had 22 points. He had 19 of them in the first half. He's an explosive player. Transfer from Wisconsin, Milwaukee. I guess Coach Gates got tired of playing against him. Yeah, at Milwaukee in the Horizon League, so said, why don't you come play for me at Missouri?
Golston's 22 against HCU brought his season average only up to 9.7, so that kind of came out of nowhere. But there were a lot of chances with 105 points against HCU. Poto with a strong move, back rimmed it, got his own, and finishes. Kenny Poto kind of coming into his own over the last 2 or 3 games.
Good aggressive play that by Kenny Poto that time, going at the rim hard and missed it, but got it, put it back in. He played pretty aggressively against Charlton.
He did.
13 points, 9 rebounds. Oh, there's a tough drive.
Tough reverse by Trey Gamillion. That's his first basket. Boy, you're right, Bob. The scoring's coming from pretty much everywhere.
They got a lot of guys that can score. That's one of the guys that Coach Gates brought with him from Cleveland State. When you win a couple straight conference championships, you want to bring some of the guys with you.
It'll be a grab, and if you believe what you see, Demoy Hodge raising his hand. And he told the truth. He was the transgressor. 3 fouls on Missouri, 4 on Wichita State.
Poto gets a good hand as he goes out. Poor Bear Chandler in for him.
Poor Bear Chandler, the Shocker backup pivot, failed to get into the game against Tarleton. A couple of different reasons for that, but among them, Gus Okafor was pretty good and Kenny Poto was pretty good. And now the ball goes to the floor. Craig Porter Jr. loses it. It'll be a tie-up, and it will, in essence, turn into a turnover. So Porter lost it on the way to the basket and consequently lost the possession for Wichita State. Shockers down 4 to Mizzou.
Well, he didn't start the ball game, but Trey Gamillion has come in. The 6'4" grad transfer was at Cleveland State with Coach Gates and was the Defensive Player of the Year in the Horizon in 2021. They've got him on Porter, and his physical style of defensive play has got Porter bothered right now.
So now Wichita State will turn to Shamaz Scott and Xavier Bell to handle the backcourt duties with Craig Porter Jr. getting a rest. We'll see which way the score goes now with Mizzou up 4. And the Shockers leader on the bench, and a corner 3 goes down by Hodge, his second, team's 4th 3 of the first half.
I think the Shockers jumped in a matchup zone that time, but nobody covered Hodge in the corner, and you better cover that guy.
41% from 3, and Gus Okafor with a 2-hand dunk gets Wichita State back in it for the moment.
Well, you can't celebrate. You got to get back because Mizzou is coming right back at you after you score a basket. That time they had 2 guys behind the defenders of Wichita State retreating.
And that's that adjusted tempo we're talking about, Bob. 14th nationally in possessions per game. So they get it through the hoop or off the miss. Either way, they didn't They don't mess around getting in the front court.
Well, I don't know anything about adjusted tempo, but I tell you what, they run.
They play fast. It's like a track team.
They try to beat the other team down the floor. That's what we used to call it.
Noah Carter with 5 and now make it 6 points. Came in averaging 11.6. One of those transfers from Mizzou, and I guess we're all just going to have to get used to that. Going to be a bunch of new faces on every team this year. Carter's second off the heel, so 2 uncharacteristic free throw misses here in the first 12 minutes for the Tigers. Their biggest lead now, 24-18.
Honor ran into a heavy screen. There's a bucket by Wichita State.
Their third three, Jerron Pierre. In the right angle by Hodge, his third triple.
Well, there was a battle for the rebound in there. Mizzou came up with it, and they knew where to throw the ball. They threw it out to Hodge, who was spotting up on the right wing. That's 2 in a row for him.
4 offensive rebounds for the Tigers. Mizzou back up 6. Bell cut off and fouled on the baseline. And that'll be foul number 4 of the half on Missouri. So with 7.5 left, Missouri up 6. Over Wichita State's first 6 games, their opponents have had 9 different droughts of at least 4 minutes, and that includes scoreless stretches of 6 minutes, 9 minutes, both in the same game against Grand Canyon, and 7.5 minutes scoring drought against San Francisco. But as Isaac Brown is finding out, with the pace that Missouri plays, holding the Tigers to a 4 or 5 minute drought might be problematic tonight.
Yeah, they got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of guys that can shoot the basketball, but Coach Brown so far this season, Wichita State, they're holding their opponents to 59 points, 36% from the floor, 27% from 3. So they've done a great job in each ball game defensively. Let's see if they can figure out the Tigers here.
Mizzou out rebounding Wichita State on the offensive end 5-2, so some second chances in addition to those turnovers. But Xavier Bell hits a 3. Now, Wichita State not normally known for that, but that's 4 in the first half, keeping them close.
Well, they've had a hard time getting any of the 2 guards to knock down any 3-pointers coming into the game. But Bell was 1 for 15. He knocked one down. Pierre not much better, 4 of 20, and he's already knocked one down. So getting a lot of scoring out of that 2-guard spot.
Gamillion missed a 3, all Shockers underneath. Poor Bear Chandler collects for Wichita State. Under 7 minutes now, Wichita State down 3. Shockers have made their last 4 from the floor, but just having a hard time keeping a hold of the ball.
Well, Missouri's doing a good job of putting good pressure on the basketball, and when somebody drives, there's always somebody there helping. You noticed right there, Nick Honor did a good job of protecting his gap and sealing that driving lane off as soon as Scott got in there.
Porter checks in for Wichita State.
Good team defense by Dennis Gates' squad. They're all moving together in unison, helping one another.
Jerron Pierre Jr. checks out, so Wichita State goes fairly small here. Scott to trigger it in. Throws it in backcourt to Craig Porter Jr. Porter wasn't out very long.
Well, they're switching that high ball screen. That puts a big guy on Porter, and he just backed up and shot over the top of Carter.
Another 3 for Craig Porter Jr. That's 5 for 10 for Wichita State in the first half. A season of 26% from deep. Man, good step through, a little hesitation by Golston. That's his first basket. He's got 3 points.
And he's trying to get the ball because his shoe came off. He's trying to deflect the ball out of bounds to have a chance to put his shoe back on.
And a rejection at the rim on a shot by Gus Okafor. Noah Carter swats it into the second row as Wichita State tried to run after make basket.
Well, you know, he did a good job. I thought the big fella here, watch him go underneath the basket to try to protect from getting his shot blocked, but Carter did a nice job of coming after that ball and getting it without fouling.
Aiden Shaw, who barely played against Houston Christian, freshman from Overland Park, Kansas, checks in.
He's the only true freshman on the Missouri team. And here comes a guy that hasn't played in a few ball games, Quincy Ballard. He didn't play in the last 2 ball games, but Coach Brown's going to give his big guy a rest, bring Ballard in.
Okafor didn't want the 3 off the inbound. Met by a couple of Tigers, and boy, you hit the nail on the head. You get past one defender from Mizzou, there's another one waiting for you.
Yeah, that's a sign of a good defensive team. You got to break through different layers of defense to get to the basket. You got the guy pressuring the ball, and you got the guy on either side of the guy pressuring the ball, handling that gap, and then you got a third line of defense.
Inside 6 minutes left to go in an entertaining up and down first half. Wichita State had bitten by the turnover bug early, but hanging around. And another jump ball. Boy, we've had at least 4 of those, and Missouri will take possession. It was getting late in the Shocker shot clock, but Gamillion got his mitts in there and dug it out.
Yeah, Gamillion looks like an action figure. You know, it looks like something that come out of a box, you know, with all the tats and he's got a pretty strong physique. Looks like he could jump into an MMA fight. But he's done a great job of defending and also tying the Shockers up. He's had his hands on a bunch of balls down the defensive end.
Mizzou so far 44%, kind of pedestrian for them, but their offensive rebound and forcing turnovers has helped.
Yeah, good cut that by Sean East. Kind of caught Xavier Bell with his head turned. Bell was looking at the ball, and East cut between him and the basket and drew the foul. Bell's going to take a rest as they bring, they brought in Porter back in.
First foul on Xavier Bell. Gamillion with a series of moves, couldn't quite finish. Jaquan Walton with the rebound, and his outlet is stolen. Nick Honor was there, and he teardrops it in. Nick Honor with a steal and basket. He's got 5, and boy, you got to watch your passes around these Missouri defenders, even in transition.
Yeah, it was a good rebound by Walton, but then he got careless on the outlet pass. Going to try to make up for it, driving through 4 different guys. No call. Shocker fans don't like that.
Gamillion trying to take advantage. A little free throw line jumper wouldn't go by East. And Gus Okafor claims the rebound for Wichita State. Porter leading the Shockers with 8. Hodge has 9 on 3 threes for Missouri. That's a wide open 3 for Shamaw Scott. Scott doesn't shoot often, but he's got 5 off the bench here in the first half.
Yeah, got a little offense out of him in that Tarleton State game. That was a nice drive and dish. Porter to Scott in the corner.
Suddenly the Shockers have hit 6 of their last 7, and a 3 answered right in front of the Shocker bench.
Oh, and he had a 6'7" Walton right in his face, and Coach Brown right behind him didn't bother Hodge at all.
4 threes for 12 points for Demoy Hodge. Came in averaging 16.6.
Well, in 7 games, he's had 4 games with 3 or more threes. So the guy makes some threes.
A push by Sean East brings us to a timeout. So the back and forth pace continues. Just under 4 minutes left in the first half. We mentioned it earlier, everyone seemingly on Missouri is capable of hitting shots, but when it comes to three-pointers, Demoy Hodge is your guy, number 5 in black. He made 21 in his first 7 games. He already has 4 in the first half after averaging 3 per game.
Yeah, he's 41% from the three-point stripe. Had 30 points against SIU Edwardsville. 4 games this season, he's had 3 or more threes. So he knocks them down in every ball game. And twice when he was at Cleveland State, he had 40-plus points. So you can see why Coach Gates wanted to bring him to Columbia.
Offensive rebound by Jaquan Walton off the quick 3 on the inbounds. Wichita State shooting out of their minds so far, but their 11 turnovers kind of negated the great shooting percentage.
Yeah, they got to cut down on the turnovers. Great offensive rebound that time by Jaquan Walton, getting that putback. That's a good defensive play. Porter with another block. He gets a couple blocks a game.
He's the best shot blocking 6'2" guard you'll see in college basketball. He had 5 against Tarleton. 5 blocks.
He had 5 blocks. He had 4 blocks in the Grand Canyon game. Uh-oh.
Tip dunk. Nobody
boxed off.
Yeah, Aiden Shaw, his first basket.
Time.
Just over 3 minutes left to go, first half. No real foul trouble for either team, save for Kobe Brown from Missouri. He got 2 quick ones. Gus Okafor, speaking of quick, with a little tippy-toe layup before the defense could recover.
Yeah, Okafor did a nice job of sneaking behind the defense that was helping on Porter, and Porter kept his head up and found him wide open under the basket.
The largest lead of the game was 7 by Mizzou, 23-16. Shockers have led briefly by 2 and 3. Now
it's the Shocker defense making the Tigers work for a bucket.
And a good give and go after Ballard came out, and another layup by Aiden Shaw.
Yeah, late in the shot clock, the defense just kind of parted and let Shaw get all the way to the hoop.
And the one rim protector for Wichita State, Quincy Ballard, was kind of left in no man's land. Porter wants another three. That wouldn't go. Wichita State 6 of 12 before that miss. And in transition again, Missouri pushes, and Golston will get to the free throw line, and that's something that hasn't really happened much in the first half. Neither team.
Well, one of the guards from Wichita State's got to pick him up and slow him down. You can't let him get up a full head of speed coming right at the basket. They've got to pick him up before the half-court line or just past it and slow his progress down a little bit. Good move by Golston getting to the hoop.
Golston came into this game 14 out of 17 from the stripe, 1 out of 2 here tonight. Mizzou overall 2 of 4.
Yeah, you mentioned it. They are a really good free throw shooting team so far in their first 7 games. 78%, nearly 78% as a team. That's a very good free throw percentage.
Yeah, I don't care what kind of style you play. You make 78% of your free throws, you're going to be in business. And they've split a pair 3 times, but another offensive rebound.
I'll tell you one thing, though. They're easier to make when you're up 20.
That's true. A little less pressure.
Than in close games.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that. They've had a lot of blowouts.
8 offensive rebounds now. Pass got to Hodge, now into the corner. Honor for 3 wouldn't go. He's their second leading three-point shooter. As far as makes, he converts nearly 50% at a rare miss.
They're doing a good job of not letting Porter turn the corner when he comes off that ball screen. They jump out and really body him up. And there's another near turnover, but they got it back.
And Ballard takes advantage of Mizzou being in scramble mode with a slam dunk.
You know, that dunking spot is way wider with him than most other guys. He was about 8-10 feet from the basket and still took one pivot and slammed it down.
Only 3 first half turnovers by the Tigers, too.
Hodge at it again.
Stepped into a 3. That one was a little tougher. Shockers with the final 60 seconds in a 3-point game. Mizzou figures to get it back if they can grab a defensive rebound, which they have most of the first half. And another turnover. That's 12 by the Shockers. And a little teardrop goes down. A little banker off the glass by Sean East.
Well, I think they spotted
for Wichita State Bruins.
Shockers were just down 3.
Pierre to beat the buzzer too hard over everything. So Wichita State shot the ball very well in the first half, had trouble hanging on to it. And I think the latter, Bob, is the story of the first half as Missouri will go into the break up 7.
Yeah, the turnovers have just killed the Shockers in the first half. But for the Missouri Tigers, they've been the fuel that's making them run at a really high pace, and that's what gets their offense going, is the turnovers and turning those into buckets in transition.
Halftime show when we return. Missouri with their first road test of the year. So far, so good for the Tigers. Missouri hasn't had to play from behind very much in their first 7 games, and they haven't had to play from behind very much in the first half against Wichita State, but not exactly like you would have thought. Welcome back here to Charles Koch Arena and courtside. Shane and Bob with you, and Wichita State had the ball with about a minute left in the first half, setting pretty, down only 3, but Missouri somehow turned that into 6 points on their end and a 7-point halftime lead.
Well, it was the same problem the Shockers were having the whole first half, turnovers. They were trying to force that ball between 2 defenders off the bounce, or trying to pass the ball where it won't go, and Missouri took advantage of those turnovers and got a lot of fast break points.
A lot of up and down action in that first half. Our highlights of the first half brought to you by Patterson Legal Group, and there was a lot of transition. There was some hot shooting by Wichita State, but Missouri seemed like they had an answer at every turn.
Yeah, a couple guys going at the hoop. First, Kobe Brown from Missouri. That was Walton. And then Hodge got it going from the outside, knocking down the threes. Walton answers with a 3 on the Shockers, and both teams shot the 3 pretty well. 6 threes for each team. That time, Noah Carter, the big guy, knocking down the 3. There's Porter. You know the reason they had to shoot 3s, they couldn't get shots near the basket. As you see there, hard to get to the basket because they helped so well. That was a kick out to Bell for a 3 in the corner. Hodge again going at it. Poto did some nice work in the first half, getting offensive rebounds, sticking them back in. Boom, there's another 3.
So Missouri team that doesn't rebound very well, Bob, statistically, but they out-rebounded Wichita State on the offensive end, kind of supplemented those turnovers, and they turned it into 17 fast break points. So it was almost a perfect first half for Missouri, considering this is their first road game.
Yeah, they forced 11 turnovers for Wichita State, and were 17-2 in fast break buckets. Shockers got it going there late, got it within 3, but you mentioned the 2 late turnovers really made a difference for the.
And even when you identify three-point shooters like Hodge and Honor, that's what they do best. They combined for 36 made threes, and only 6 of 17 in that first half for Missouri. Maybe they're coming back down to earth, or maybe bigger things are to come in the second half for the Tigers.
Well, and you can't just focus on Hodge and Honor. They got a lot of guys that can knock down a 3. Missouri's got a lot of weapons, so the Shockers are going to have to keep scoring to stay in this ball game.
We'll take a look at the first half stats when we return. Missouri leading by 7 in their second trip to Wichita in 3 years at the half. Welcome back to Charles Koch Arena. Pretty free-flowing first half. Missouri leading Wichita State 43-36. Mizzou got 10 more shots at the basket than Wichita State did, due in large part to the turnovers. But two other stats that really stick out from that first half. Points off turnovers, Mizzou 17-5 over Wichita State. And they're second from the bottom, as Bob and I mentioned just a minute ago, 17 fast break points. 17 fast break points is pretty darn good for a full game, but Mizzou got that in the first half, and 11 steals, leading to 13 overall turnovers. Shockers got none, and only 5 points off turnovers for Wichita State. Now, the one thing that helped rescue Wichita State was an uncommonly good 6 out of 14 from three-point range. Craig Porter Jr. hit 2 from deep to help offset Demoy Hodges' 4 three-pointers to lead all players in that first half. Demoy Hodge with 12 points, the only player in double figures. Craig Porter Jr. with 8 points, 3 assists, but 3 turnovers in that first half as well. So if Wichita State wants to make a rally, they got to clean up the turnovers and stop Mizzou in transition. 43-36 as the Tigers, in their quest to go 8-0, halfway there here at Charles Koch Arena. More from halftime when we come back. Each year during V Week, we honor Jim Valvano by supporting the V Foundation for Cancer Research, the foundation he announced in his unforgettable 1993 ESPY speech. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 2 men in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. But there are 18 million cancer survivors today in the U.S., and that number is expected to rise to 22 million survivors by 2030. So if you're able, please support the critical work of the V Foundation for Cancer Research. 100% of your donation, whatever it is, will go directly to game-changing cancer research. If you're able, please give to v.org/donate. Shane Dennis and Bob Hull back with you. An exciting and entertaining first half between Missouri and Wichita State. These two clubs getting together for the third time in 4 years. Wichita State will go back to Columbia next year. But Wichita State played a uneventful first half, you might say. A lot of good and a lot of bad for the homestanding Shockers.
You know, they shot the ball pretty well from three, knocked down 6 out of 14 three-pointers. Got Pierre knocked down one, Bell knocked down one, Porter knocked down a couple. And they did a good job on the offensive boards, but too many turnovers, 13 turnovers in the first half. And Missouri took those turnovers and turned them into fast break buckets. They were 17-2 in fast break buckets.
Second half keys for both teams for Mizzou to hang on to this 7-point lead. Keep applying the pressure. Wichita State gave it away 13 times. Mizzou had 11 steals. That's mind-boggling in one half. Now for Wichita State, on the other hand, one way to combat that beyond hanging on to the ball is stay hot. They shot a very good percentage, not only from the floor, but from three. But to your point in that first half, Bob, Wichita State's transition defense got to get better, got to handle the pressure better, and attack the basket. 3 keys that you had for Wichita State, and they did virtually none of them.
Yeah, you got to handle the pressure and attack the basket. They did at times. They back cut. They threw some nice passes underneath the basket. But too often, the Shocker guards were trying to force the ball where it wouldn't go. They were trying to dribble between 2, sometimes 3 defenders and getting tied up. A number of times, Missouri State Tigers tied them up and forced held balls. So Shockers have got to move the ball, don't force it where it won't go, and keep attacking the basket.
Now, good news for Mizzou when it comes to a guy with foul trouble. Kobe Brown only played 4 minutes in that first half. He's their leading scorer, but Mizzou barely missed him.
They got a lot of guys that can score. Hodge had 12. That's no surprise, but he is 4 for 7 from 3 in the first half. 4 3-pointers in the first half. But they've got 6 points from Carter, 6 points from Golston. They're really spreading the points around. 5 points from Honor. So Coach Gates has a lot of weapons on the offensive end. A lot of guys that can score for him. And so it's really hard to focus on one guy. If you're Wichita State, you've got to play good team defense and cover everybody.
So individually for Wichita State, James Rojas did pick up 2 first half fouls. Kobe Brown, the preseason All-SEC selection, picked up 2 first half fouls. Nobody else in any trouble whatsoever in a very free-flowing, up and down first half. The officials, Tony Green, Mike Nance, and Vladimir Voyard-Tadal, really let everybody play for the most part. And considering it was Missouri's first road game, Bob, that first 20 minutes, energy wasn't a problem.
No. They're playing with a lot of confidence, and they're playing very hard, playing real good defense, doing a good job on the boards, and it's going to be an interesting second half.
Wichita State's starting 5 is out there, and I believe Mizzou's starting 5 counters as well. Yep. The first 5 for both clubs. Wichita State will keep it on this end, 13 seconds into the second half. Missouri enjoying their largest lead. They've had 2 different leads of 7 points. And into the halftime break, they went with their second. Walton steps into a 3 straight away. Banked one in the first half. That one wouldn't go down. One theme for Wichita State so far this year, when they've had a good shooting half from 3-point range, they've gone ice cold in the second half in a couple of games. Brown didn't try to force, created an open look for a teammate, but DeAndre Golston misfired. Wichita State wants to run. Bell, corner 3, over everything. Rojas anticipated it, but couldn't grab it. Hodge with a rebound.
That time it was Wichita State pushing the ball up the court and getting an open look, but airballed it, and back at him. Demoy Hodge takes it at it, gets the bucket.
He had it knocked away briefly by Jaquan Walton, but got it right back and just spun it into the hoop. He's got 14 points. Demoy Hodge leading all scorers. Biggest lead of the game for Missouri.
Well, you want to be real strong going into the half, and you want to be real strong coming out of the half. So far, that's Missouri. Missouri ended the half on a nice run, and so far here in the second half, they're getting after the Shockers.
Again, Missouri is going to have plenty of marquee games coming up on the schedule really quickly. They play Kansas, they play Illinois, and they open up SEC play with Kentucky. So it's going to really ramp up, but they've been ready for the challenge of this decent crowd here at Wichita, and again, their first true road game. They haven't been away from Columbia yet.
Yeah, that foul was on Demoy Hodge. Tony Green caught him holding on the weak side.
Rojas steps back, shoots a three. Poto couldn't grab it. Golston the rebound for Missouri.
Looked like Poto had two hands on the ball but couldn't quite secure it. A little shuffle of the feet by Brown. Got the ball over to Hodge, but another miss.
Xavier Bell pulls down the rebound. Shockers down 9. Minute and a half into the second half. Bell for his second three. Yes, Xavier Bell has 8 points. He had 7 against Tarleton on Saturday.
Boy, they needed that bucket.
And a trailer three wouldn't go down for Golston. Way up ahead. Porter waits for reinforcements. 2 minutes into the second half.
The Shocker coaches made a point of saying, hey, let's beat them down the floor and try to get some easy buckets.
Porter with a little teardrop, rims in. Craig Porter had 8 first half points, 5 in a row for Wichita State.
Well, he's got that mid-range game. He can shoot the three, but he can also drive in and pull up. He's got a really nice floater, a nice pull-up jumper game. Looks like the Shockers have jumped into that 1-1-3 matchup zone. Missouri sticks a shooter in each corner. This time they're going at the Shockers.
Porter with another blocked shot. Xavier Bell's up ahead of the field. 7 in a row for Wichita State.
Yeah, nice pass ahead by the Shockers, getting Bell the easy one. There's another steal by Wichita State. Craig Porter flying to get that one.
Mizzou recovers, but Walton wants a three. Jaquan Walton with a three-pointer, and Wichita State has taken the lead.
Boy, the Shocker fans are on their feet going nuts here in the Roundhouse, and another turnover by the Missouri Tigers, and the Shocker fans are beside themselves.
And Dennis Gates didn't want to call a timeout initially, but after the Nick Honor turnover, he's been forced to. Missouri got the first 2 points of the second half. Wichita State has answered with the next 10. They've made their last 4 field goals. And on the season, Wichita State averages a little over 5 three-pointers made per game. They already have 8 from long distance. And that 10-0 run has fueled Wichita State's comeback, forcing a timeout by Missouri.
Yeah, you want to go into the half strong and you want to come out of this half strong. Missouri went into the half strong, but it's Wichita State here in the second half on a 10-2 start in the first 3 minutes.
Missouri only turned it over 3 times the entire first half. They have 2 turnovers in the first 3 minutes of the second half. And Wichita State has cashed it in. Poto, a rare what turned out to be paint touch. Draws a double team. Walton all alone to begin with, draws a foul and an opportunity for a three-point play. A 12-0 Shocker run.
Yeah, Walton did a great job of muscling that ball up. Nice pass over here to Taquan Walton. Watch Hodge come over to try to block it. Walton did a nice job of moving the basketball to keep it from being blocked, and that's another foul on Hodge.
That's 3 now on Demoy Hodge. So a 12-0 Shocker run gives Wichita State a 3-point lead after they trailed by 9. Definitely quiet here at the Roundhouse, and Wichita State fails to make their first free throw of the game. They're 0 for 2.
Yeah, he's a pretty good shooter too, 76% on the season. Shocker crowd into the ball game now. They didn't have much to get into in the first half.
They woke up in a hurry.
They sure did. This place got loud in a hurry.
12 Shocker points in about 90 seconds. And one of the things Wichita State took advantage of was getting out in transition, which they rarely did in that first half. Only had 2 fast break points.
Well, they had to talk about it in halftime because they're definitely pushing the ball up. There's a long one by Honor, but he misses it. And
off Carter.
Yep,
Carter last touched it.
Carter was pointing at Porter, and Porter was pointing at Carter. But Mr. Nance, the referee, Mike Nance, said, nope, Shocker ball. Little full court pressure by Missouri this time. Set up 1-2-2, but it looks like it's going to go to a man-to-man here.
One of those rare Missouri scoring droughts. We've gone over 3 minutes without a point. The Shockers working on a 12-0 run here early in the second.
Well, they are determined not to let Craig Porter come off on those ball screens.
And Poto muscling into the lane, met nearly every Missouri defender on his way there. Couldn't put it up soft enough. Carter tried to get past him, got bumped. That will not count. That was on the floor, and I think it was on Kenny Poto.
At that time, Noah Carter just lowers his shoulder and Noah Carter goes right into Poto and draws a foul.
So Wichita State delivers the first big blow of the second half. Timeout on the floor. Their first 7 games, Missouri shot 52.6% from the floor. And as we have chronicled throughout the game, averaged 93.3 points per game. They're in a drought right now. They've gone 3.5 minutes without scoring. And at the moment, they're shooting 42% from the floor.
Yeah, Shockers really sticking some defense on Missouri. They're 1 out of 6 from the floor here in the second half. 0 for 4 from 3, and the Shockers 56% from the floor with a couple of three-pointers made.
Trey Gamillion checks in. So is Sean East.
I thought Gamillion had some good minutes for the Tigers in the first half. Their defense really stepped up when he got on the court.
Yeah, he's a spark plug for Mizzou in the first half. Whistling a holding foul.
Whistle off the ball, looks like.
2 post players.
I think it's James Rojas with the foul.
So that's his third. He'll join Demoy Hodge with 3 fouls for Missouri.
They were jostling for position, so we used to call that.
About 19 feet from the basket, interestingly enough, but yes, they were.
James doesn't like to back down from anybody, but he's got his hands full there with Kobe Brown. He's about 6'8", 250.
The drought continues. Rojas stepped into basically a double team and a whistle and a foul.
Well, it took a while, but they finally called a foul. Gamillion really likes to go after that basketball.
He'll dig at that ball, won't he?
You better be careful with when he's in the vicinity. He likes to go get the ball. Here, they're going to show it right here. Rojas trying to protect it, and there's Gamillion getting called.
And you know what I like about that with Tony Green and Mike Nance? They both let him dig in there for a while, let him play. If you're going to kind of pivot into a double team and put the ball down like that, they gave Mizzou their chance and then finally had to blow the whistle. So the 12-0 Shocker run continues, and the drought now has exceeded the 4-minute mark for Missouri.
Nice
Rojas hits Xavier Bell.
Well, a beautiful cut from the weak side by Xavier Bell, and credit Rojas for keeping his head up and finding him on the cut.
A team not known for a lot of assists. Wichita State now has 14 to just 8 for Missouri. Missouri, the nation's best.
Well, in the first half, the Shockers did a lot of standing around with one guy dribbling, and so far in this half, we're seeing more cutting from the Shockers.
Xavier Bell reached in and picked up a foul. So a 14-0 Shocker run over the last 4 minutes of game clock has erased a 9-point deficit. Carter to the bench. Ronnie DeGray checks in for him.
Yeah, DeGray and Brown, a couple of big wide bodies in there for Coach Gates.
And Walton deflected it out near the midcourt stripe. Inside 10 to shoot. This doesn't happen very often for Missouri. They got to run a clock play. Honor a deep 3 off the heel, bounced right back to him.
Well, Porter went up to pressure the shot, but he didn't check him after the shot.
Corner 3 wouldn't go, and now Missouri can't buy one. They're 0 for their last 8.
Those offensive rebounds normally burn you as a defensive team, but that time Missouri missed a couple of open jumpers.
Greg Porter Jr. trying to probe this defense. Poto and Porter both had a 3, neither wanted it. Rojas, hands digging at it, banks it in.
Boy, Missouri had him, it looked like they had him pinned on the baseline and he had nowhere to go, but somehow James Rojas found a way between those 2 defenders and got the ball in the basket, and Dennis Gates wants to talk about it.
What you thought would be a drought-proof team this beautifully in their first road game. Everything's gone down the drain for Missouri when I started talking them up.
Well, I said the same thing. I said the Tigers are really getting after the Shockers here at the start of the second half. And as soon as I get those words out of my mouth, the Shockers go on a 10-0 run. So you never know in this game. And turnovers is that's the big statistic tonight. The team that protects the ball and gets some shots up is probably going to be the team that wins this game.
And to your point, Wichita State has 0 turnovers so far in the first 6.5 minutes. The Shockers on a 16-0 run. Honor is blocked by Craig Porter Jr., and he lost it out of bounds.
Yeah, he tried
Wasn't ready for DeGray.
Yeah, he came up the floor, was going to do a little spin move, and DeGray was sitting there right in his face as he came up the floor. Watch Porter block this shot. He's really good at blocking shots. Gets the outlet from Rojas, and then as he tries to spin around DeGray, lost the handle. So it had no turnovers. That just barely got out of your mouth again there.
Man. 3 more block shots for Craig Porter Jr. Came in averaging 2 blocks a game on the year at just 6'2". Deep in the shot clock again for Missouri.
Well, that time they just cleared it out for their star, Kobe Brown. He's a first-team All-SEC preseason.
16-0 run finally snapped.
When you're on that preseason SEC team, you're a pretty good player. Looks like the Tigers might be in a little bit of a zone. Looks like some sort of a 3-2 zone.
Bell for another 3 over everything. Poor Bear Chandler into the ball game. Couldn't corral the rebound as he was boxed off by Golston.
Well, from the corner, Bell has hit a 3, and he's had 2 air balls here in this half. So feast or famine for Xavier Bell.
Mixed results for sure. 12.5 left. Mizzou on the road back after snapping a 16-0 run.
Good defense that time by Bell on East.
Brown working on Poor Bear. Partially blocked maybe, and swooping in on the weak side is DeGray.
Yeah, kind of a force that time by Brown, and Shockers did not get the weak side blocked off. And we're going to have a timeout on the court.
So I think Isaac Brown wanted that one. So we've got a timeout on the floor. Wichita State's lead down to 3. Former Shocker Garrett Stutz taking in the Shockers and Mizzou. One of the, seven-footers to play at Wichita State, Bob, along with current Shocker Quincy Ballard.
Yeah, Garrett was a good one. Last time I saw him, I think he had a full beard, so interesting to see him clean-shaven there. But Garrett was a great one, played for Greg Marshall's teams here. Took us to the NCAA tournament in Portland and a couple after that. All right, let's see what the Shockers have dialed up. Offense, zone defense by Missouri coming out of the timeout.
Scott and Okafor check in for Wichita State, led by as many as 7. It's down to 3 now. Porter didn't want the long 3. He was kind of checked there by Sean East. Walton with a ball fake. Topoto rejected at the rim. Here comes Honor, 1-on-1. Golston with a trailing layup is good. Now Missouri comes roaring back.
Yeah, that time it wasn't a turnover, but it was a blocked shot that triggered their fast break, and off the Tigers went. Poto going to have to go up a little bit stronger on the offensive end to get that shot off. He got that one sent right back at him.
DeGray rejected it. That's a 6-0 Missouri run. Scott with a teardrop. Wouldn't go. Golston with a tough rebound for Missouri. So the Tigers have a chance to take the lead. Nearly 9 minutes gone by second half. A back and forth second half. Half of runs already. Corner three, no. Scott all alone for the rebound. Nick Honors kind of been quiet from three-point range tonight.
Well, they love to shoot that corner three, but so far here in the second half, they're 0 for 8 from three.
And Honors now 1 for 7 unofficially on the game. Came in 15 for 31 from long distance. Porter hits, banks it in off the glass.
Well,
Porter Jr.
He hasn't been able to penetrate their defense very often here in this game, but that time against the zone, he got in there and got that little pull-up. And
they're going to call Kenny Poto for a blocking foul. He was trying to get out in front of Ronnie DeGray, who kind of elbowed him to the floor. And
Kenny was kind of like, get a license number from that truck that just ran me over.
3 fouls on Kenny Poto now.
Ronnie Gray goes 6'6", 230, and I want to use that scale. If he's 230, I think he might be a little bit bigger than that.
Demoy Hodge checks back in for Mizzou. He's got 3 fouls. So Poto out with 3, Hodge in with 3. East with a left hand. Sean East with a couple of baskets, and Missouri keeps the pressure on.
Yeah, the lefty drove to his left hand, went right over the top of the Shocker defense. He's a transfer from John A. Logan Junior College in Southern Illinois. Spent a lot of time recruiting down there, Shane.
Some good athletes in multiple sports at John A. Logan.
Yeah, they got a lot of good junior colleges down Southern Illinois, Missouri.
Late in the Shocker shot clock, Porter Jr., maybe a bit of a force.
Oh boy, look out.
And a run out. Here comes Hodge, and he lays it in.
Well, Porter got caught watching his shot and didn't see the defender run by him, and Hodge got behind him. The Tigers looking up the floor, found him for the easy one. This zone's been effective. It's kind of shut down the Shocker offense.
Wichita State's been above 50% for most of the game. They enjoyed a rare great shooting performance against Tarleton, and Shema Scott snaps a little streak. He's had quite a game offensively for Wichita State. He's got 7 points.
Yeah, he seems to be really comfortable shooting that little floater as he gets into the middle of the zone. That's the shot you get against the zone. You can penetrate, but you can't get all the way to the basket.
Brown with a bit of a brick three-pointer. Great job by DeGray to try to keep it alive, but he couldn't control it. Shema Scott, 3-on-2. Poor Bear, reverse layup is good.
There's a fast break bucket by Wichita State. Shema Scott to Poor Bear Chandler for the nice reserve layup.
Shockers with 7 fast break points in the second half. Craig Porter Jr. picks up his second foul.
Yeah, trying to get an easy one, trying to steal it, going around the backside of Kobe to steal that pass. Kobe Brown, watch this. Oh, this is the this is going to be the fast break bucket here. Watch Scott just take it up the floor. Makes a nice pass to Poor Bear Chandler, who goes underneath and lays it in.
Shema Scott, Bob, with 7 points and 4 assists off the Shocker bench. And they're going to stay with him to run the club and send Craig Porter Jr. over to the bench. Jerron Pierre checks back in for Wichita State. Triggering in for the Tigers is Demoy Hodge.
Shockers back in their man-to-man this time.
Rojas with 3 fouls, trying to check Kobe Brown. Rolls it out. Fight for the rebound. And a little scrum underneath the basket. I think the jump ball was called. And Gus Okafor imploring the crowd to get on their feet. It'll stay with Missouri.
Watch these two guys battling for the ball. Gus Okafor's got it, and Shaw is not wanting to give it up.
Watch out, camera person.
Yeah. Got right in the middle of the action, didn't he?
Sure did.
A couple of big bodies coming at him.
Right into his lap. Shot clock resets to 20. Wichita State, on the strength of a 16-0 run, has erased a Missouri 9-point lead.
Now they're running their offense through Brown, and he's going to get a charge. Good job by James Rojas. They let him bump him once, but the second time he lowered his shoulder, Rojas times it. One bump's okay, but watch this time. Bang, right into Rojas. And Tony Green on the baseline got the call, a charge.
A couple of things there. That's 3 on Kobe Brown now. And another, the point of emphasis that we haven't really gotten a chance to talk too much about is the flop. Not that that was one, obviously determined by the official, but if you get called for a flop now, there's no warning anymore. It's a technical foul, so you better be sure that you're drawing an offensive foul.
Yeah, they're trying to stop the flop. Obviously plenty of contact that time to not call it. And this zone's got the Shockers a little betwixt. They're not sure what to do with the basketball. Pierre says, I know what to do. I'm just going to shoot a long one. Looks over at coach and says, hey, I can make this.
Easiest assist Shema Scott will ever have.
Well, they need some buckets from Pierre. He's a talented kid that can shoot it.
Wichita State is now 9 for 22 from long distance. Hodge for 3. Two Shockers knocked it away from one another, and it's going to be a foul on Pierre. Shockers wanted a jump ball, but instead Pierre picks up the foul. So the foul's starting to mount for both clubs as we are at our under 8 timeout. Wichita State with a 6-point lead here in the second half. Wichita State has outscored Missouri 25-12 in the second half, keyed by 2 separate big runs, Bob Hull. A 16-0 run, then Mizzou woke up, came right back, and now a 7-0 Shocker run over the last 146, and another scoring drought for Missouri.
Well, Missouri can't buy a three-pointer. They're 0 for 10 here in the second half after knocking down 6 of them in the first half. They're shooting 30%. Shockers 58% here in the second half.
Back-to-back stellar games offensively for Wichita State, and there's Porter again to alter a shot. Great bounce pass to Pierre, and he couldn't finish with the left hand. Tried to spin it in off the glass and left it short.
Yeah, I got going a little bit too fast, and the ball came off the board a little too hard. Nice to see Sean Pierre pushing the ball up the court, though. Puts a lot of pressure on Missouri's defense.
And Shema Scott not afraid to start that fast break without Craig Porter.
Well, normally plays the slow pace, but you can see he can accelerate. Shocker with the steal.
So now we're inside 7 minutes. And we'll see how both teams want to play. Now, obviously, Mizzou behind. They're not going to slow it down. But what will Wichita State do here, the final 6:45?
Well, Missouri was in that 3-2 zone. Now they're back to their man-to-man.
Pierre for another three, virtually the same spot. Jerron Pierre Jr. has 3 3-pointers, and Wichita State leads by 9.
That's a nice lift off the bench by Pierre, giving Coach Brown a couple of threes.
Uncharacteristic 10 3-point makes today for Wichita State, shooting 43.5% from long range.
Well, they've been running their offense through Brown, trying to go to him. And when the double team comes, that leaves somebody open on the boards. That time it was Shaw trying to get the tip in, but he couldn't quite get the ball in the basket.
Shockers got away with one there. Somebody came over from the weak side to try to block a shot.
Yeah, when you double team the post like that, a guard has to come down and block off that other forward, and didn't get there.
Pierre, a heat check three, may have been partially blocked, short. Okafor, though, tried to step through, knocked it away. This is a man's game tonight. You're going to have to earn your fouls. Here comes Mizzou back the other way. Down 9, and a blocking foul. It'll be on the floor. Shema Scott looks to the heavens. And now Missouri, an excellent foul shooting team, is in the bonus the rest of the way.
Yeah, that time it was Sean East coming up the left side in transition. Shema Scott gave him a little bump, and Mike Nance called him for the foul.
You know, for as much as this has been up and down, Bob, and it virtually has been from the very get-go, there's been 8 free throws shot by both teams combined. 6 for Missouri, 2 for Wichita State.
Slow whistle, slow whistle. These are veteran officials. I mean, these guys have been at it a long time, and so they're not going to blow the whistle unless they have to.
Sean East is 6 of 9 this year. First one is good. East has had a pretty solid game off the bench. 5 points. He had 9 against Houston Christian in that rout the last time out. Gomillion back in for Missouri. Checking out is Aiden Shaw.
Yeah, this East had 14 points, 5 assists in the SIU Edwardsville game. Averaged 18 a game for John A. Logan Junior College. Misses the second one, though.
And that could be a sticking point if Missouri doesn't come back to win this one. They're just 4 of 8 from the free throw line. Not a lot of attempts, but they've left 4 points at least out there on the free throw line.
Don't fool around with that basketball around Gomillion. He'll take it from you. It's like they got a good defensive lineup in here right now.
Rojas stepped into a double team, got the foul.
Oh boy.
There's 6 fouls on Missouri in the half. And this is in the active shooting, so for the rest of the way, including this trip, there'll be free throws with every ensuing foul.
Coach Gates had a look of bewilderment on his face after that call. He thought Rojas forced it, and he might have, but he got the foul.
Rojas only 2 points tonight after he had 9 points and 8 rebounds in the victory over Tarleton on Saturday. There's the first free throw make for Wichita State tonight.
Yeah, 8 rebounds in the game, hit 5 out of 6 free throws in the game against Tarleton, and down the stretch the Shockers needed those free throws. Tarleton was making a run at them.
Speaking of runs, 2 monster runs for Wichita State in this half. 16-0 and now 12-2. The lead swells to 10 with 5 minutes and change left in this one.
Boy, there's some good defense out of Wichita State that time by Jerron Pierre.
Skip pass and the extra pass to a cutting Noah Carter.
Yeah, good strong finish by Carter that time.
Lead down to 8. Wichita State, this is a pace that they're comfortable with. The game in the mid-60s. Now, still a long way to go, but and it would seem that the winner's going to get into the 70s. A poor pass by Craig Porter, then a hesitation is going to lead to
That's how they're going to get back in the ball game. They're not making their threes, so they got to push it up and get some easy buckets.
26 fast break points for Missouri. Lead cut down to a half a dozen.
3 guys on you, James.
And he fired one through the hands of Craig Porter Jr.
Yeah, he's got to put a little touch on his passes. Have the Tennessee to rifle those passes.
Final 3:43 ought to be good. So Missouri has had to try to withstand 2 big scoring runs for Wichita State in this half. They led by 7 at halftime and seemingly took the air out of the building, but a very quick 10-0 Wichita State run after Missouri got the first 2 points of the second half, and Missouri's been trying to dig out of a hole ever since.
Well, Missouri did it with block shots and turnovers, igniting their fast break. They're only shooting 22% from 3, but they forced Wichita State into 17 turnovers.
A quick 3 by Hodge to try to remedy that, and they stay cold. Defensive rebound, and cautiously Walton. I say that, and then he fires a pass into Nick Honor's hands. And what's the call here?
Well, let's see who the foul is on.
I think it's on Okafor.
Yeah,
and it probably should be.
Yeah, Honor he tried to throw a cross-court pass here, one-handed. Honor was going for in the passing lane to steal the basketball, and Gus gave him a little check there. Shocker fans don't like it as the replay plays on that big screen. They think both guys were going for that basketball.
Well, a little better passing decision probably would have remedied the heartburn the Shocker fans feel right now.
You don't want to wind up and throw a one-handed cross-court pass like that. Usually doesn't get there against a good team.
1-1 for Honor. Grad transfer buries the free throw. Nick Honor has only 6 points tonight. Came in averaging 10.1. He's an 88% foul shooter.
Yeah, he's only missed 2 this season. 14 out of 16, now 15 out of 17 for the year.
Got both. So for once, Missouri cashes in 2 free throws on a trip there. Porter beats a double team. Pierre. Wichita State crosses the timeline. Porter imploring his team to pull it out and run some clock.
Well, good job against the zone trap that time by Wichita State, passing the ball up the court. Now they're going to get a little play called here. See if they can get Porter free.
Gets away from Gamillion. A Gus Okafor 3 with 6 on the shot clock.
Well, he did it Saturday against Tarleton, and now a big 3 here against Missouri.
That's his first three-pointer of the night, and that was timely.
They're going back to their zone. Quick shot, but Carter knocks it down.
Carter, his second triple.
He doesn't look like a three-point shooter, but he hit 6 in one game earlier this year.
Lead back down to 4 again. Every haymaker that Wichita State tries to throw, Missouri is countered. even though Wichita State's shooting 58% for the game. Game's still in the balance. Pierre off to the right, rebound Carter.
Well, he's feeling pretty confident right now. Knocked down a couple of three-pointers. Thought he'd give that one a go.
Shockers now 11 for 26. East, a little teardrop. No one came over to help. Sean East with 9 points.
Yeah, Okafor looked like he had pretty good position on him, and then he just kind of backed off. I think he was worried about fouling him. Oh,
and
my goodness.
Walton just threw it away. It looked like Pierre had some doubt as to who that was to, but he was the only one in backcourt. That's what Walton's trying to tell him. So with 2:04 left, Missouri has a chance to tie it or take the lead if they can make a rare three.
All right, Porter better pull these guys together. They're looking at each other, blaming each other for that turnover. They got to play some defense here.
And that's an and one opportunity for Noah Carter. Beat his man off the dribble. Will go to the free throw line to give Missouri the lead.
Well, Carter got it over on the wing. Rojas a little late getting over there, never established defensive position. And Carter just took it right by him to the hoop and drew the foul.
Wichita State calls a timeout. So Missouri has trailed more tonight than they have in their first 7 games combined. But they've got an opportunity to survive 2 long droughts. And the final 156 will be action-packed, no doubt.
Well, once again, it's the Shocker turnovers. First, they enforced the miss by Missouri, got the rebound, but then Walton, against the full-court pressure, tried to throw a cross-court pass, and it resulted in a foul by Gus Okafor, sending Honor to the line. And then after a basket, the Shockers going against the Missouri press just threw the ball out of bounds. Walton was trying to throw the ball to Pierre. Pierre thought he was throwing to somebody else, let the ball go, and went right out of bounds. So a couple of Shocker turnovers have helped these Tigers get back in this ball.
What an entertaining game this has been. Wichita State just a few moments ago led 66-56, and a 7-0 run of Mizzou's has tied the game. And Missouri will have an opportunity of 3-point play as Noah Carter will go to the line after the break. Carter with 13 points and 5 rebounds has a chance to give Missouri the lead. Their last lead was 55-54 about 7 minutes ago.
Well, you talked about the runs in this ball game. Both teams have had them. I guess the question is, who's going to have the last run tonight?
So both teams in the bonus. The next Shocker foul will send Mizzou to the line for 2. They'll be over the limit as far as the double bonus. So
quick enough.
Okafor for 3. Gus Okafor with 2 late 3-pointers in the half. Wichita State by 2.
Shockers going back to that zone defense. See if they can stop the penetration.
90 seconds left.
I'm not sure all
East.
the same Shockers are in the same defense.
East hits again. Sean East, an ice-cold 15-footer. He's got 11.
Oh, what a ball game, huh, Shane?
Now the possessions are dwindling down.
It's a 1-minute game now, tied up with a minute to go.
Rojas, foul. They'll go to the free throw line with 1:02 left.
That was a nice cut by James Rojas, cutting in front of the defense. Porter found him, and he drew the foul. He's going to get a couple of free throws. No, I think, is that a common foul or a shooting foul? Okay, shooting foul. He's going to get a couple of drop foul shots. Rojas is a pretty good free throw shooter. 87% for the season. He's made a couple already tonight.
4 points, 2 for 2 from the line. Wichita State only 2 of 4 from there, and that's a big miss.
Well, that was halfway down, then just spun right out of the basket.
Mizzou 7 out of 11 from the stripe. Wichita State only 2 of 5.
That's his 3rd miss of the season.
Second one is dead center. Rojas has 4. The Shocker lead is 1 with a minute left.
Shocker fans getting on their feet, trying to help the defense.
East turned the corner. Banker wouldn't go. Walton gets rid of it. Inside a minute now. And a near turnover near the Shocker bench. Wow.
I thought he had it, then he lost it, and he got it back. Good
So
hands.
Wichita State's shot will come up with about 20 seconds left in this one. Who's going to take it? Xavier Bell will go to the free throw line with 2 to shoot.
I think they're going to get honor with a push there. Nope.
Vermillion with a reach.
Yeah, number 2, Vermillion. Yeah, there it is.
So now
going for the basketball and got him on the arm.
Xavier Bell to the free throw line. He's been an excellent foul shooter this year. The best he can do is put the Shockers up 3 and then put some pressure on Mizzou to either make a decision to score quick or to try to make a three that's been elusive tonight. First things first, that one's too hard.
Man, he's a 92% free throw shooter, 11 of 12 coming into this game.
A lot of excellent foul shooters on the year have taken turns missing from the line.
A lot of pressure, though. As I said, it's a lot easier to shoot free throws when you're up 20.
Yep.
It's a lot tougher when it's a close game.
Timeout, Missouri. 2 misses on a 2-shot foul for Xavier Bell. The hometown boy with 12 points tonight. Wichita State has 5 players in double figures. Bell, Porter, and Walton all with 12 points. Hodge leading all scorers with 18. Noah Carter with 14. And Sean East has come off the bench for 11 points.
Well, as coaches, you always say, well, every point in the ball game is the same as any other point in the ball game. When you miss a free throw early, it's the same as missing them late. But you can't help but think, hey, those are really important free throws right there. Shockers had a chance to go up 3 and missing both those free throws by an outstanding free throw shooter, Xavier Bell.
Rojas, an excellent shooter, missed one too.
Yeah, that gives Missouri some life here. Just down 1 with 19 seconds to go. So Shockers are going to have to play some stout defense and rebound.
How quickly do you think Dennis Gates wants his guys to go here with 19.4 and the shot clock off?
I don't think there's a time that he wants them to go. I just think they're going to run a play, and then they're just going to play and see what the defense does and try to get the best shot they can get. I don't think you want to hold for the last shot, and obviously you want to shoot it with time enough to go for a rebound and get a good shot up. So I wouldn't see them waiting under 7 seconds here, but I think they'll take a shot, first good shot they get.
Okay, 19.4 left.
Question is, will the Shockers come out in a zone or will they come out in their man-to-man? I would suspect they come out in their man-to-man.
And who takes the shot for Missouri? Hodge has 18 points.
Well, he's their best offensive player, but there's a lot of guys that can make a bucket on the floor out there for Missouri.
And Honor is going to make the decision of who gets the shot here. A back cut, and Hodge is fouled. Hodge was fouled with 9.7. So I guess regardless of what happens here, Wichita State will have a counter if they can rebound or take it out of the net.
Well, he was going to get a layup, and Rojas fouled him to keep it. Watch him backdoor Walton here. Walton was on Hodge. He's their best. Walton's their best, Shockers' best defensive player. And he was on Hodge in the corner. They ran a really nice backdoor cut play, and Hodge was open, and Rojas had to foul him to stop the layup.
So Wichita State, keep in mind now they've got 1 timeout left if they need it. Hodge is an excellent foul shooter on the year, 9 of 11, but he hasn't been there tonight. And regardless, Wichita State will only need a basket to try to steal one at the buzzer if they need it.
Well, plenty of time, 9.7 seconds. If he makes the free throw, the clock won't start. He's going to get 2 foul shots here, so a lot of pressure on Mr. Hodge. And as you said, good free throw shooter, 82%. Hasn't shot a lot of them, though. 9 of 11
yeah.
Coming into this game, and hasn't shot one here tonight. So doesn't get to the line a lot, shoots a lot of threes.
Xavier Bell just missed 2, but Demoy Hodge, a grad transfer following Dennis Gates from Cleveland State. 2 to come, the first 2 of the night for Demoy Hodge.
Oh, boy.
So now the best that Mizzou can do here, unless they get an offensive rebound, is tie the game.
Well, late in the game, when the game's on the line, that rim shrinks. And these free throws get much, much tougher, especially in this kind of environment.
Dead center on the second. So we're tied with 9.7. Again, Wichita State now out of timeouts. They just called their final one, so neither team has a timeout left.
Well, they got plenty of time. Missouri doesn't want to foul. They don't want to put the Shockers on the line, so they got to play good defense without fouling.
Porter beats pressure virtually by himself. Teardrop is short, and on the inline, Pierre, that will not count. He was out of bounds. Pierre got the rebound, but he was on the baseline.
Yeah, Porter got a pretty good look, a floater right in the middle of the lane, a shot that he normally hits. You'll see Porter go right through the defense, gets by Comillion, pulls right up there, shoots that floater, and there you can see Jerron Pierre on the end line as he grabs that rebound.
So they're going to take a look at the clock and see how much time to put back on it. 1.6 at the moment. And I think Quincy Ballard, the 7-footer for Wichita State, has checked into the ball game to make things tougher on whoever inbounds for Missouri. But barring a miracle, we may have some extra basketball here tonight.
Well, look for a long pass. A lot of times they'll swing one player one way, one player another way, and try to get a pass to a guard that's heading up court. And he'll have a couple of dribbles with 1.6 if that's a play they run. Or a lot of times they'll set some screens and try to throw a deeper pass and try to throw the pass into the front court and then have the player that catches it turn and shoots the basketball.
The only problem with the latter is you baseball pass one out of bounds and Wichita State will have it back on the other end if nobody touches it.
Yeah, you can't throw a long one. You can't throw it long. It'll be interesting what kind of play Dennis Gates dials up. He dialed up a really nice play coming out of that last time out. They ran a backdoor cut for their star Hodge and got him to the free throw line, but he can only make one of the two free throws.
There is Ballard, 15 in white, the 7-footer for Wichita State.
Well, they got Carter over here right in front of us, and he's an excellent three-point shooter. Hodge, you got to watch out for him.
They put 7/10 of a second left back on the clock, too. So a little more time for Mizzou if they can inbound and make a dribble.
Now, he cannot run the baseline. It's a spot throw-in, so he'll have to stay right there. Quincy Ballard's going to make it difficult for him to throw long, so look for them to go to Gomillion or Honor.
They do go long. Gomillion at the buzzer. What a great look for 2.3, but we're going to overtime. So Wichita State and Missouri can't solve their problems in 40 minutes. We got extra time in Wichita. There's the baseball pass by Sean East II, and it got to Gomillion over and around Jaquan Walton. You couldn't have asked for much more if you're Dennis Gates. So Missouri not only got a look at it, they got a really good look at it. And Wichita State and Mizzou will play overtime. Of course, Missouri at 7-0 and virtually untested will be playing overtime for the first time this year. Wichita State's played a couple of semi-close games, the most against Richmond. But Wichita State and Mizzou going to extra time. So a re-examination of the foul issues here for both teams. Hodge and Brown have 3 apiece for Missouri. Rojas has fouled out for Wichita State. Poto with 3 of the remaining players. He's the only player with 3, but James Rojas has fouled out. And so in the extra session, Tony Green, the crew chief, will toss it up in the jump circle. A half of spurts and a final minute and a half of missed free throws. Walton, Porter, Pierre, Okafor, and Scott out there for Wichita State. Honor, Gomillion, Carter, East, and Hodge out there for Mizzou. Tap one by Missouri. Here we go in the extra session. 5 minutes to try to settle this one. Both teams in the bonus. Missouri shooting 2 with every foul from Wichita State. Carter up and around Okafor, wouldn't go. Rebound, Craig Porter Jr. Porter with his 4th rebound. Jaquan Walton has a double-double for Wichita State with 12 and 10. And a turnover in backcourt. Wichita State with their 20th turnover. And a foul on Pierre. He was basically flying past Carter and couldn't avoid him. Jeron Pierre Jr.'s 2nd foul. But 2 free throws with every Shocker foul here in the extra session.
Might come down to free throw shooting, Shane.
Carter 2 out of 3 from there. Missouri as a team, 9 out of 14 on the night. Far below their season average, but as Bob has pointed out, these free throws much more important than any of the really previous 200 that they shot back in Columbia. But yeah, Carter answers.
Carter looked pretty good on those 2.
Missouri by 2.
I'll tell you what, it's hard to pass around Trey Gomillion. There's a reason he was Horizon Defensive Player of the Year in 2021. This guy, he gets his hands on a lot of balls. Might want to throw up to half court to Walton up here.
As a former coach, Bob, you know when you get to overtime, whoever loses the game is going to look back on about 7 different things they wish they would have done differently.
Boy, the Shocker bench was just begging for a foul there. It looked like Pierre was getting mugged in front of the bench, but Tony Green said, nope, it's going to be Shocker basketball out.
Ronnie DeGray checks back in for Missouri. 1 minute gone by in the overtime.
Boy, Pierre dribbled into a double team and then a triple team there. Lucky that wasn't a turnover.
Well, as you've mentioned a couple of times, it's a slow whistle tonight. It's going to be.
Yep, both teams.
Yeah, and especially in the overtime.
They've done it for both teams.
Going to let the players decide this.
There's one there.
Gomillion with a foul.
Yeah, they caught Gomillion doing a little arm bar. That's a defensive technique to try to get the driver off balance. That time, a little arm bar on Craig Porter as he drove.
1-1 for Porter. He's got 12 points, 5 assists, 3 more block shots.
Not a great free throw shooter. Just 7 of 11 coming into the game.
0 for 1 tonight.
As much as he drives, he doesn't shoot a lot of free throws.
And he had a chance to end the game with a little teardrop. To your point, kind of pulled up short of contact and left the teardrop short to try to end it.
Missouri with a 2-point lead, trying to widen that lead. Shockers need to stop in the worst way.
Nearly got it. East almost lost it. Trying to force on Pierre. Carter faked the dribble handoff. Getting late now. Gomillion with basically a set shot 3. And I guess it hit the rim. Up ahead to Walton. Shockers in transition. Walton spun it out.
Well, he was trying to get the foul. He jumped into the defender hoping to get the foul. Didn't get the whistle, and then he was off balance and couldn't get the ball in the bucket. Good defense by the Shockers, but good defense in transition by Missouri that time.
Now the Tigers will burn a little bit of clock.
Yeah, that time they just drove right down the lane, got the bucket.
Timeout on the floor. Wichita State trailing by 4 as Missouri has weathered 2 big storms thrown at them by the homestanding Shockers. But Mizzou with the first 4 points of OT, 2.5 minutes in. Wichita State, after that East layup, calls timeout and wants to talk it over.
You know, we talked about in this series, neither team has won on their home court. Last year, Shockers went up to Columbia and beat the Missouri Tigers up there, and that was a 61-55 game in November. And then the year before, during the COVID season, Missouri brought a team in here in front of no crowd whatsoever and came out with a victory over the Shockers on their home court. So the home teams had a hard time winning in this series. A lot of time left. 2.5 minutes.
An eternity.
Missouri's got the lead, 4 points, and let's see what the Shockers come with out of this timeout.
They're going pretty small with Shema Scott, Deron Pierre, Craig Porter, Jaquan Walton, and Gus Okafor. But doesn't matter to Missouri. They can pretty much guard every position, everybody they throw out there.
Yeah, they got a small lineup too. Both teams have a 3-guard lineup out there.
Big possession for Wichita State, and Porter elects to fire a 3, wouldn't go, and Gomillion ends up with a loose ball. East tapped it to him.
Well, it looks like they were trying to run a play, but it obviously wasn't working, but Porter felt good about that open 3-pointer.
The Shockers had been good from 3-point range tonight, too. Hodge got underneath the basket and couldn't tap in his own miss. 2-point blankers, it wouldn't go down for Missouri. A lob to Walton, and he lost it going up. Inside 2 minutes now, and now the possessions really shrink down and get important.
Boy, he's a high flyer. Jaquan Walton went up there to grab Porter's pass and then got bumped a little bit and lost control of the basketball.
Mizzou running a little clock. East has been so good off the bench. 13 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. He's handling it right now. He's going to fire up a 3. Wouldn't go. Putback goes.
Well,
Noah Carter wrestles the rebound away from 2 Shockers.
Carter rolled right to the basket. Nobody went with them, and so they had an extra man on the offensive boards that time. That's what Carter got it.
Okafor needed that 3, but got fouled.
Horrible foul by Carter. Fouling the 3-point shooter, and that shot missed. So it looks like Okafor is going to go to the line for 3 free throws.
He has not been to the free throw line tonight. 10 points, 7 rebounds for him off the bench. Shockers from the stripe as a team, 3 of 9. That's one of the things that they'll look back on if they fall short tonight and what they could have done better in regulation. Get there more often and make them.
Yeah, neither team's been pretty good from the line. Very good. They're 10 out of 16. Missouri, 67%. Oh, my gosh. There's another miss
from Wichita State at the stripe. 78 seconds left, and the best Okafor can do now is get Wichita State within 5. And Missouri, if you can be in the driver's seat in overtime, is knocking on the door right now. Okafor splits a pair, or splits the first 2, I should say, so it's a 3-point shot that he was fouled on. So I spoke a little too soon there.
He knocked down 2 big 3-pointers. Get Shockers back in this game late. See if he can make this 3rd free throw.
And he didn't. He left it short. East pulls down the rebound.
Five-point lead now. Missouri's going to run a little clock.
And a double team turns into a turnover. Shema Scott on the run out. Lays it in. That was goaltending anyway, but Shema Scott with a big-time steal and basket in transition.
Yeah, the referee was going to count this because Gomillion, watch the steal there. Walton gets his hand on that pass, and you'll watch Gomillion slap the backboard. That ball was going to count anyway.
Gomillion, one-handed pass, and a cut to the basket and a slam by Carter. So much for running clock for Missouri. They had numbers, and they took advantage.
Boy, they went through that press like it wasn't there. They had a really good plan, got the ball up the court, found the man on the weak side coming to the basket. That was Carter with an emphatic dunk by Noah Carter.
Boy, they waste no time going end to end, and that really burned Wichita State. Pierre, another long three. This one's no good. Porter skies for the rebound and puts it back in.
Boy, he went way upstairs to get that rebound and then stuck it back in the basket.
And now Wichita State, with maybe its last gasp at guarding without fouling. A three in the corner for Hodge wouldn't go, and an offensive rebound for Gomillion.
Oh, that's a big
exactly
rebound.
what Wichita State wanted.
I can't believe Hodge shot that three, but a big-time rebound by Trey Gomillion to keep the possession in the Tigers' hands.
A miss by Hodge, and if Wichita State grabs the rebound, they got a chance to tie the game. But as Bob said, a huge offensive rebound for Missouri.
I can't believe he took that shot with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
East to shoot two. It's been so good tonight, but only 1 of 2 from the stripe. Nails the first, and maybe, just maybe, takes the pressure off of this second one. 2-possession lead, though, for Missouri. Shockers out of timeouts. DeGray comes in for Mizzou, substituting offense for defense. Sean East with an excellent game tonight.
2-2-1 zone presser, trying to make the Shockers use a little time getting this ball up the court.
Walton go to the free throw line, but the best he can do is cut the lead to 3.
Well, that's a pretty smart play by Jaquan Walton. If you can score with the clock stopped, that's always an advantage if you're coming from behind. So he drives in there, goes into Noah Carter. Carter's got a look of bewilderment on his face, asking what I do. But good drive by Walton drawing that foul.
Jaquan Walton tonight, 12 points, 0 for 1 from the line. Double-double tonight with 10 rebounds.
He's a 76% free throw shooter.
Wichita State has missed 8 free throws in this game tonight, including Okafor missing 2 of 3, being fouled on a three-pointer. That one's cashed in by Walton. 13 points for him. And maybe most importantly, Bob, if he makes this one, Wichita State can at least set up some semblance of a press.
Well, if they can get a steal there, if he makes this, that'll make it a 3-point ball game.
Both go down for Walton.
Last time Missouri went right through the press. They weren't cautious at all. They tried to go right through it.
Porter fouls East.
Maybe not a bad foul, though.
13.9 left to go in this one.
Now the pressure's on Mr. East. Can he make free throws to ice the game for Missouri? Shockers were in that situation at the end of regulation, couldn't make the free throws, but Mr. East was just at the line and knocked down a couple.
Even one would make it a 2-possession game. And there's the first one that goes down. So East has made 3 in a row. He's got 16 points off the Missouri bench.
Senior's a JC transfer out of John Logan out of Louisville, Kentucky. Big free throw for him.
And he nailed them both.
Wow. Nice job.
And back into the game for Missouri is DeGray.
Sean East made those very coolly.
And now Wichita State needs a miracle. 14 seconds left. Down 5. Scott. Wichita State has made 12 three-pointers tonight. Pierre all the way in, lays it in with 4 seconds left. And Missouri will burn its final timeout wisely.
Well, when you're down 5, you don't need to shoot a 3 in that situation. Get a quick basket. That's what Pierre did. Got to the hoop, got a quick basket. Now the Shockers are going to have to try to steal this inbounds pass. And if they don't, it's going to be a quick foul. So Shockers will come out in some kind of a full court pressure. And let's see what Dennis Gates has dialed up to combat that pressure. Now after a basket, you can run the baseline. So that's going to help Missouri a little bit get that ball inbounds.
And the only real disaster here that could doom Missouri is a turnover, a live ball turnover in backcourt. If they just secure the ball, you would think they'd be in good shape. Now, the possession arrow does go to Wichita State, so even if it does come in, you might want to dig at it if you're Wichita State, maybe a quick tie-up.
Hey, I've seen a lot of crazy things happen with 4 seconds to go in a game, Shane. You can turn it over, you can throw the ball out of bounds, guy can catch it and travel. A lot of things can happen.
Gomillion to trigger it in, and the home run ball to Honor. And that is pretty much going to do it. So Missouri, for the most part, Bob, when it came to handling the ball, threw caution to the wind and just did what they do. And it worked out, it looks like.
They sure did. They had a plan, and it worked. Coach Gates threw up a nice home run play, sent the guard deep, and he faked like he was screening for a big guy, but ran off him deep, and it was a nice pass down to the front court. Honor
3 of 3 now from the free throw line. And Missouri has started to pull away at the line and maybe show their true selves. They're now made 75% after splitting their first 8.
I'll tell you, they've been pretty good in the overtime here from the line as I talk him out of that free throw.
Allen rolls out. Okafor at the buzzer. It won't go. And Missouri outlasts Wichita State and survive 2 long offensive runs by Wichita State and subsequent droughts by the Tigers, but they stay undefeated. It took them 45 minutes, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, the Shockers put on a heck of a run, a couple of good runs, got up 10 and looked like they were in control of this basketball game. Missouri started to dial up the pressure, started to run in their zone press, and they got back in this ball game by turning the Shockers over and attacking the basket.
Wasn't perfect by any means by either club, but it was something. 88-84 in overtime. We'll be back to wrap it up after this. Missouri in a marathon outlast Wichita State 88-84 in overtime. Shane and Bob back with you here courtside for some final thoughts, and I think it can safely be said that both these teams can learn a little something about themselves from this game. Missouri in victory and Wichita State in defeat.
Yeah, Missouri did a great job. They're known for their offense, 93 points a ball game, one of the top offensive teams in the country, but they won tonight's game with their defense. They forced 20 Wichita State turnovers, and that allowed them to get 17 more shots at the basket. They didn't shoot a high percentage, but they got more shots, more volume, and that's why they won the game.
Yeah, they survived 21% free shooting from the three-point line and only 42% overall, a team that shoots 53%. Our play of the game is brought to you by Dillon's, and that defense did trigger some offense. A blocked shot by Ronnie DeGray led to a run out and a layup by Golston as Kenny Poto was rejected at the rim, and that led to 2 of 26 fast break points for Missouri. Our Duncan player of the game, quite a few people to pick from for Missouri in a winning effort, but it came down to Hodge with 4 really early three-pointers that kind of set the tone for Missouri. I know Wichita State came back, but Demoy Hodge, despite going cold in the second half, finished up with 19 points and 4 assists.
Yeah, and his partner Carter had 20 points. East off the bench had 17 points, so they had multiple guys that could have been player of the game.
And multiple guys for both teams if the results had been reversed. But Missouri 88, Wichita State 84. Final stats on the game, and Wichita State for the second game in a row, Bob, shoots 54% from the floor, maybe shaking their doldrums from the first 5 games from the floor for good.
Yeah, when they weren't turning the ball over, they actually got good shots and made shots. Shot well from the three-point stripe. Made a high percentage of those. Shot 54% for the game, but the stat that just jumps off the page at you is 20 turnovers to 8.